Hello there, everyone. I'll just introduce myself. My name is Ra, and I'll be your moderator today. Welcome to this Building Smart International Standards Summit workshop on professional certification. We are recording this, so it will be available online after the event. And we have opportunity for questions at the end. We've just got some to get us on our way. And without any further ado, I'll hand straight over to Céline Bent, Compliance Director, buildingSMART International, and she will introduce our speakers.
Yes. Let me introduce you to our team. Today you'll be hearing from Mark Baldwin, the leader of the Professional Certification Program, Gunther Woelfle. He is the Managing Director of buildingSMART Germany, but also has been the leader of the project group developing our practitioner program. And Mario Napolitano, who works for IBIMI and has developed a practitioner course that will be available in Italy from this week onwards. Not speaking, but here in the room and ready to address all your difficult questions are Soo-Chan and Stephen Oxlade. These two people are absolutely invaluable for the professional certification program. They work super hard on the background to make sure that the program is running and growing, and we get nothing but positive feedback and compliments about them from our users and our training providers. So yeah, I wanted to give them a really big thank you and compliment for their contribution. Before I introduce you the professional certification program, I'm also Compliance Director of buildingSMART International. Therefore, I'm going to read you the following. buildingSMART is committed to ensuring that participation in the development of standards is unrestricted and the process for their adoption is transparent, and standards that are developed do not favor any particular provider and are open, non-binding, and accessible to all. I hope that is understood by all. But actually, the compliance program of buildingSMART International is not really about this type of compliance. It plays a really important role in the strategic roadmap of buildingSMART International. And on Monday, I introduced the topic as well. So it is about process certification, making sure that everything works as expected. Currently, software certification is not officially part of the compliance program. It falls under the technical part of our direction, but going forward, we're gonna adopt it in a compliance program of buildingSMART. And obviously, the people of the entire workforce of our industry has to embrace the standards and solutions of buildingSMART International for it to be useful. So with professional certification, that's a really important part of our strategy and of the entire ecosystem of buildingSMART International. As I said, on Monday, the compliance roadmap is not as mature as the technical roadmap of buildingSMART International. So we really have a lot of work to do in the coming years. And with professional certification, we aim to get a majority of the workforce that is not yet educated in the full set of capabilities that we offer, to kind of make them jump over across all those capability steps and have them really experience the benefits of automated connectivity between applications that is already possible. And then probably from next year onwards, we start with process certification that could be realized in company or project certification, and in combination with software certification and individual certification, we want to realize this certification ecosystem that we want to realize on this third horizon of our strategic roadmap. And in order to make sure that everything we do under this compliance program, which is quite big in ambitions, we had to set up a really sturdy governance to make sure that the whole international community of buildingSMART is well involved in the decision making, and to make sure that all the procedures and the processes are run fastly and efficiently. So the roles and responsibilities and the procedure requirements had to be more clearly defined. So I introduce you, and I know it's a little bit boring, the governance model for compliance. All the aspects that are deemed to meet international consensus will be put out for voting to our members, organizations and chapters. And the real governing body of the compliance roadmap will be the Compliance Committee Executive. And this is modeled after the Standards and Solutions governance model, and is aligned with the BSI process. And on this Compliance Committee Executive, we have the CEO of buildingSMART International, the technical director, myself, the compliance director, and 5 representatives of the emerging, the largest global market, and that's it. So it's a group of 8 people. We have 1 member already in the room, Stefan, from the Romanian chapter. He will really represent emerging markets, and I think will give a very good and input and add to the diversity of this committee. So you will hear more from them, and through me, this committee executive will report through the CEO to the board of buildingSMART International. And this way we make sure that everything is covered, and we really represent the entire community. That compliance roadmap or governance structure will cover all the programs that fall under compliance. Currently, that's only professional certification with its steering committees, subcommittees, and projects. And the Compliance Committee Executive will have a key role in making the investment decisions for all the products that are being developed under the programs running under the compliance roadmap. Hope you still understand it. That could be software certification going forward, and process certification, and any other programs that seem suitable for the compliance roadmap. But yeah, for now, it's really professional certification that we have a lot of work to do to make sure that Open BIM standards and solutions are adopted in the entire industry. And with professional certification, we don't provide training ourselves. We develop a learning framework that is a representative of the international standards and solutions. We provide this to our chapters that have the ability to add local content to this learning framework, and they engage with training providers in their national markets. But we also, and we come back to that later, we have an international training provider opportunity that we provide. Currently, we have 18 chapters that are running professional certification, and 5 chapters are developing or implementing the program. Those are the ones that are implementing. Already 18,000 people have been qualified across the world, and we have over 160 training providers in 12 languages. And if you look at the market penetration of the foundation program that we're running, the Swiss chapter has been very successful. This chart is corrected for population, so the actual numbers are slightly different, but similar graph. Austria and Germany have been really leading, and Hong Kong, Spain, and Italy are following. And then we have the other 12 chapters that in some cases are struggling with the marketing, creating market awareness for buildingSMART and for the program. And other chapters have indicated to us that either the current content that we offer is too advanced for the market awareness, or too easy, not sufficient to really indicate the skills level of an individual. So for those reasons, we are launching this year Professional Certification 2.0 that really covers all the latest aspects of creating your own OpenBIM workflow. We have a whole rebranding. We are launching a new website soon that we aim to make very user-friendly and give direct access to training for users that are looking for training. And this is the branding strategy that we decided that we think fits our program best, where we introduce different levels, matching competency levels, and also the job profile and the career status of someone. It consists of a free training and examination online called Entry. We have an improved version of our current foundation program that's more focused on basic knowledge, and we remove a lot of the theoretical and the technical content. And then we have two advanced levels called Management and Practitioner. And I know most of you have been really waiting for this practitioner program to become available, and we start right now with the rollout of this program in Germany, Austria, and Italy, because those markets really felt the most urgency to launch the program, and they've also taken the initiative to do so. OpenBIM management and OpenBIM coordination will be available in Germany and in Austria from this week, and OpenBIM specialism in Italy. And Gunther, Mario will tell you everything about these profiles later. But first, Mark, I give the mic to you to tell a little bit more about those other 3 levels that we're introducing. So there you go.
Good. Thanks, Céline, and hello, everyone from my side. I'm going to go quite quickly through the content. I'm assuming all the slides will be made available, right? So you can reflect on that. There's also information on the website. But because I see lots of familiar faces here who know the program quite well, that's who I'm probably speaking to. And for those that are less familiar with it, then you may want to look at the website, because as I said, I will go fairly swiftly through. So I want to give a little bit of an overview following on from Céline's introduction. And I want to say a couple of words, and that is that we're really at a crossroads. It's a transition now. Céline called it Professional Certification 2.0, and it's really a very exciting time. It's a time to look back at what's been achieved, but then also to look at this new level of professionalism we've seen now with under the guidance of Céline, that we have a new governance model, and there'll be a lot more resources made available. But at this point in time, I want to make a huge recognition to all the people, many of you here who have been involved in some of the work groups in the last, I think it's 6 years now that we've been doing this. And I want to make a couple of special mentions. One is that the program that was originally launched actually came from Norway. So there was work done in Norway that they made available, and we built it on that. And I also want to make a special recognition to Germany, who has been pioneering, and they were the first country that launched the foundation level. They've been driving this practitioner, together with Austria, who's also had a really successful program in their country that they've now made available. And now we have Italy also, who have produced this BIM specialism profile. And there are many other chapters involved, but I just want to recognize this huge amount of work that's been done, a lot of voluntary work, a lot of grassroots to make it to where we are today. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm going to follow on, and I've got some slides previews from the new website that's going to be launched. And once again, this is also a huge thanks, one, to Sue Chan, who's been coordinating that among the many, many tasks, and Stephen Oxlade, who's been managing a lot of the technical work in the background. But also, we got to steal the wonderful idea from the Italian chapter who had this idea of this roadmap on their website, which we thought was fantastic. So this is the new, previously we had the pyramid, which was a bit sort of technical. That's our inside structure. This is how we're presenting it. So we have this kind of roadmap. People can go on and see what level am I at? Am I at entry level, foundation, and so forth? And they can find the right program for them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what this is, bearing in mind that some of it is established, some of it's in development. So the entry level, Céline spoke about, this is new, this is in development, but essentially what we, and I'll also be looking at the foundation, okay, so, I'll come to, I'm getting ahead of myself. So also for all these programs, we have a series of recognition. So there's now these badges, these digital badges that have sort of metadata in them, and certificates that can be authorized. So there's been a lot of improvement done there, but every level of the program is accompanied by badges and certificates. And in fact, we have badges for training providers as well. That's the example, and a certificate of registration for a training provider and a badge there, digital badge. So this is now rolled out, right? We also have the platform, our sturdy platform, that actually this was taken over by from the Norwegian chapter. It's a Moodle-based platform. We're now doing a bit of a sort of a quality assurance to make sure this is the right platform for us as we grow. We have, as I said, 18,000 people who have gone through, and we're expecting in the coming years that this will increase by many times. So we're looking at that. But currently, this still forms the basis of all the different levels. So let's look at the entry level to start with. And this has been a wish from a number of countries. I know Spain, Sergio had this recommendation. We had many others saying, let's have some content that is free and that people can learn. So we're providing now a resource platform, and this is together with different people from the buildingSMART community, from the technical side as well. We're going to be providing content that people can sort of access freely, and they can do an exam. Maybe it's like 10 questions or so, and they get the first badge. This is in development, but by the end of the year, certainly, I don't want to be too optimistic, but certainly by the end of the year, I think sooner this will be available, freely available, so to translate and for everyone to use at no cost. The foundation is what we've been running. So this is these 18,000 individuals. This is the foundation. And the way that's structured is, so we just have one product now in the foundation, what was called previously Foundation Basic. We have these 5 modules with the option of having a local module. So these are standardized. It's around the ISO 19650. It's around OpenBIM and so forth, buildingSMART standards. Countries that want to add national content can add a 6th module. So we have a lot of guidance to say how this is done. This already exists in the 12 languages, this exam. It's, for your information, so it's a multiple choice exam of 25 questions that has to be answered within 30 minutes. And we have a database of just under 300 questions. This is also being updated. We've had a lot of feedback from the industry that some of the questions are a bit too technical for a broad audience, so we're doing now a revision. That was the question, I think, from Paul. This is a huge task, right? And it's sort of an impossible task because how do we keep with change without changing things from a weekly basis? They have to be translated in multiple languages. So we said we'll only be doing updates once a year for this foundation content. Yeah, and we have, this is also a bit of a sneak preview. This is the current registry of individuals. Not all individuals, this is, we have a database of all the individuals who have been qualified. And for those that wish to be posted, which is approximately 8,500, so about half of them, they can be seen here, and that's this website's available. You can have a look. You can search by country, by language, and so forth. What we're having new, we do have a registry of training providers, and we're improving that because we have a lot of requests coming to say, I'd like to have a training provider who teaches in French or does online courses, and we're then now going to be providing that as a service. So people can go on and really see, okay, where are the training providers? So what languages do they offer? What courses do they have? So we'll sort of be providing this service in the new website. Currently, it's just a listing. Information, I'm going to jump over this, but there are I'll go quickly, 3 costs. So chapter costs have been hugely reduced now because we've had so many chapters do it, so it's a minimal costs. There is some technical implementation, there's some internal translation costs. We also provide a little bit of funding from international to support local translations. And we have then a training provider fee, standard fee. This is the foundation level, management level. We'll hear from practitioner, but it's a similar sort of price range for the registration fee. The exam fee, this is for the foundation and management levels. So to do the exam, people attend a course and the market sets the price for their course, and we provide a standard fee for that, for this online exam. Good. So the management level is also in a preview. This is sort of following the same concept as foundation. So the difference between foundation and practitioner is foundation is knowledge-based learning. We're not checking people's ability, we're just checking their knowledge, and that's the case for management as well. So it's for people at a senior position, but understanding their knowledge and comprehension of the topics. The foundation is the prerequisite to do management or practitioner. And here we see what we have. We have the COBE, now called COBE Management. It was previously called COBE Foundation. And this exists since, I think, over a year in English, German, and now in French. At the university where I work in Switzerland, we've just last month, in fact, this month, we had a new group of people doing this COBE management level. And there's a number of others that are being launched. These are, so there's appointed party that's relating to the ISO 19650. And then we have some initiatives so energy performance. This was actually an initiative led primarily from the Italian chapter, from Anna Moreno. She's been spearheading that, and infrastructure is a new initiative that has been put forward by Germany and other countries. So there's an opportunity if we're not going to have an endless list, but we will have different management level curricula available. And these are following, once again, I'll just reiterate, this is the same as the foundation in that it's knowledge-based learning. It'll be 25 to 30 learning objectives, and again, an exam, 25 questions. It's the same structure, it's just at a higher level, but it's going to be the same approach. You attend a course, you do the exam, you get the certificate. And at the end, I guess it's like Scouts, you'll have a whole lot of badges on your, on your sleeve. Good. Yeah, so this is just reiterating, it's the same structure, management. Here we have the COBE learning objectives and the exact same learning platform to get that. I think this is my handover, but I'm just wondering, does it make sense to see if there are any questions at this stage, or should we leave it? Yeah. So we keep it a little bit interactive. We've had a lot of content here. Should we take a moment for questions at this stage before I hand over to Gunther and Mario? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So, Brage from buildingSMART Norway. Do you need to take the entry level and the foundation in order to take then the second 1 or 2 level, or could you go directly to management, for instance?
Good question. Thank you. So entry is really for itself. That's not a prerequisite. That's kind of a free offering. But yes, foundation is the requirement for management. And Gunther, you have to correct me here, also for practitioner as well, right? Although the content's included. So foundation is for everyone. Yeah.
It's called foundation.
It's a foundation. Yeah, that's right. We start with the foundation. Yeah, sorry.
Hello, thanks for the achievements. Just quick question. You have the management level, and then you have open bin management under the practitioner level. Is it confusing?
Yes, it's confusing.
It is. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good to, how do we solve it? I don't know.
We probably solve it by that way that each and every chapter in its regional language and its culture can adopt a term that fits better for the management level, for the offers in the management level. We are aware of this, but I think Mark explained it very well. It addresses a certain audience or certain say audience or clients group that will be better addressed by the term management than practitioner.
Yeah, Mark here. I got a question about the website that Céline was mentioning. So you are organizing or implementing a new website. Is that targeting directly the professionals in the different chapters, or internationally, or how are we supposed to implement it in our own chapter? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah, so we really aim it at the users, so the potential students and training provider. So our customers, they should find an immediate access to the product that they want to acquire through our website. And this is a model that we encourage the chapters just to copy and use, but then for the chapters.
Because we already have that on our website.
Yeah, you have a very good website. Yeah.
Yep, but isn't it, duplication, yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, we actually picked good examples from our chapters to develop our international website. But yeah, we assume that buildingSMART International is a website where potential users might end up with first. So we want to provide an immediate access for them to a local training provider or course in the Netherlands, for example. So we hope to actually generate more users for all the chapters.
Let's make it a joint effort, please. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what it's aimed to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll add something from the background. So previously the website was focused at chapters. So it was very technical. It was focused to sort of say, welcome, this is the information you need. And we've reached a level of professionalism where we are really targeting the audience. And as Céline said, this is a channel to the chapter, right? And we get a lot of requests. And we also had this question, what happens to a training provider that's not associated to a chapter? There's no chapter. This was one of our points. Well, they get in contact with us. We have emails coming in that Sue always responds to and Stephen respond to these inquiries. So we have a channel now. And so we just said, okay, the questions are coming to us. We're going to have a more responsive website. But of course, we direct them to the local areas due to language differences and so forth. Yeah.
Just a clarification question. You have the management level and practitioner level. So if you get certified, just because it's on screen as a practitioner level, is that then a certification in all those 4 boxes, or do you have to choose?
Yes, you have to choose. This is, so the idea is this is kind of specialist areas. And this is actually, there's another generation where you're going to be able to create custom profiles. But currently, this is the open BIM management concept, open BIM coordination. So you choose a direction, or COBE certified professional. This is a very specific certification. So these are you choose for a specific product. It's unlikely that someone's going to do all of them. I don't imagine that. But, may do.
I think it's unlikely that we end up presenting the practitioner course on our international website in this manner, because we choose probably a more generic approach that translates well internationally, as this is for the first rollout of this practitioner's course is aimed at these particular profiles that are recognized in the 3 markets where we are launching the practitioner course, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so this is the first rollout for practitioner and how we present it, but we want to move towards from BSI perspective to a more generic and international applicable presentation of this level.
Mark, I've got a question.
Rob, Paul, sorry. Dutch voices.
Yeah. Will there be some kind of marketing package available with news posts, or maybe ongoing with news posts on giving updates and maybe some good images? I think the marketing part, at least for the Netherlands, is we have to put a lot of effort into it, and I think it can be a common trademark or something. And now we produce our own images. So, yeah.
I think yes.
Great.
Yeah. That's what we started to develop with this website. So we have this graphic language that we're now developing, and as soon as the website is live, we will make it available to everybody, including presentations that you can use, and social media post. That's a good idea as well. Yeah. Yes.
Can I ask something? Do you expect us to provide marketing material for the customer or for our business customer? Right? Because actually, what we are providing here is business to business. We are addressing in Germany. We are addressing, let's say, 50 or maybe sometimes 60 training providers, and directly. And of course, we go to fairs, we go to events and lay out, present a flyer or something to address interested private individuals. But actually, what we are offering here is addressed to business partners. So it's difficult. It's a good question. Our providers ask the same question. Can you please give us something? But actually, it's hard to take that part as well.
I think this is my personal wish also that buildingSMART provides more communication material at all levels. So we have had this request, and we do have sort of special graphics that have been prepared, and we have had requests for sort of pre-defined social media posts. And I think this is something that we will provide. Obviously, there has to be translated, but we want to have a standard communication. I completely agree with Gunther. We're talking to chapters and training providers, but we want to have a standardized communication. So we will be providing that. Yeah, I think I will take a couple more questions, but then I also think a lot will be answered by the following presentations. Yeah.
So can we have local practitioner levels, meaning if there is something specific for Norway, which is not relevant for anyone else, could we have developed an own just specific practitioner level for that certain kind of, yeah.
So this is the Pandora's box, what you're opening here. And I think I think this is something that we're definitely looking at, and it's actually far more complex than that. So because there's local requirements at the moment. We said we're providing a standardized way. So this is the buildingSMART open BIM management way, as far as you can generalize. We completely agree. We acknowledge there's not just national differences. There's also differences. You know, a project manager on a tunneling project has a very different skill set to a project manager on a refurbishment of a historic building, right? These are different sets. So we are looking at that in the phase 2. This work has been underway for some time to look at how we can adjust to these different national requirements and specific project requirements. But it's a little bit out of scope for the discussion today.
I can come with a concrete example why that would be relevant for us. It's that Stadsbygg has developed their own, they call it Simba, which is their BIM manual, which is fully automated. It uses IFC, it uses IDS, and it uses BCF. And now the other governmental agencies like the road administration, etc., they are all thinking about implementing the whole system. And we have now discussions with Denmark, Finland, and Sweden to also maybe implement it, which means that it will be a fully automized way of working with buyer specifications in Norway, which is then totally based on buildingSMART. and it would be interesting to have, that level of a certification saying that, well, I am familiar with how this works, and So it's not like a small group needs it. This would be like a kind of a huge thing in Norway.
Yeah.
As you said, we discussed that before, because Germany and Austria were in the same situation. But I think we could convince everyone that it is the concept is a global one. But we can imagine that there will be specific regional programs which are easier to develop and easier to implement. They probably get another badge because it didn't go through the whole process of what is the process? The compliance process, actually. So we are thinking about that. And on the other hand, I want to make you curious to my slide number 12. So 12, remember 12 and 13 maybe as well. So you might get some ideas, because it's the bigger scope is a modular one, a real modular one, data-based one, second phase or whatever. So and I just say Rubik's Cube. Remember that term, Rubik's Cube.
I think you're next. One more question. Is that right? Yeah. And then Gunther, you're next. Yeah.
It's actually not a question. I just want to let you know what we did at Siemens. We have an internal website called My Learning, where only Siemens employees have access to. We have the BIM program there, so you can learn it. But if you want to have the certification, you have to go to one of the certifiers, and then you have it. But you can learn internally anytime you want. You have access via our website, and I think that makes really sense, because we have also a lot of people say, I just want to learn about BIM. I don't need this label, but I want to learn it. And this also helps us internally in order to promote BIM, even with our management.
It's fantastic, and I want to pick up on that, Christian. It's a really good point. If you look at our 160 training providers, this is a really fascinating mix. So you've got classic sort of industry, we call them vocational trainers. You've got universities. We have a lot of companies that use this program for internal training, and they do it sometimes on, online learning, hybrid learning. So there's a huge amount of flexibility there, and that's a great success story. Thank you for saying that. I think it's a perfect time to hand over to Gunther.
Thank you. I got my notes here, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. Please excuse my gymnastic movements here.
I can do it for you.
Well, I'll do it. I'll do it. Thank you. I skip the first one pretty fast, because we learned a lot about the history, where the practitioner does come from. First of all, it's important for all of us to be aware that there is a huge potential for a body like buildingSMART International. There is a lot of trust out there that people bring towards us, or sorry, my English. And this is because we are national and international, because we are highly professional on the professional level. We have staff, we have more and more staff, even on the chapter level. And of course, the huge commitment of our members representing the industry. And that together is such a value we should always keep in mind and always remember us. Level 1 foundation is knowledge-based. I skip it quickly. After your 16 learning units, you probably return to the job, you apply what you learned, and then sooner or later the question is, how can I get further? How can I deepen knowledge and skills especially? So level 2 is the practitioner, learn more, but mostly enhance your skills and your abilities. That's the idea of these 2 levels. There are more differentiations. In the meantime, Céline gave a little overview so far. But this, I think, is most important. Basically, we started from the system, from the concept of 2 levels. Just a few figures, just to make you aware why Germany and Austria as well did make such a pass, why we speeded it up a little, bringing the practitioner and the next level to the market, is because there's a big need. You can see the numbers of our participants or the graduates in Germany alone. We started in 2018. So far, it's more than 6,000 in Germany alone. And this is another graphic I like more, because it doesn't say how many participants per inhabitants in the country, but it's the total number, 6,300. We provided about 46% of the income so far for buildingSMART International. I think it's a good argument to speed things a little bit up. So just a summary why we need to speed up the next level. Where am I? I forget my note. Yeah, open BIM methodology. Oh, what a word! Methodology. Now I got it. Is becoming more and more important in Germany. For example, the latest government in Germany, they agreed that they use BIM and they use open BIM. They used actually the term open BIM, and we were so proud to read it in the coalition contract. We have 50 dedicated training providers. Why are so many? Because our industry is so fragmented, is so specialized, that it is just natural that we have so many providers representing that wide range, from players like really global players with their own academies, or small universities with only, let's say, 20 graduates per year. So that's a wide range, and that's the explanation why it's 50 and probably even more for foundation. New chances. The first public clients are demanding, or at least giving the option to take part in the buildingSMART program in Germany. This is really, really important. The public client as someone who potentially sends its employees to a buildingSMART program. And so we have in Germany a good cooperation with the VDI. It's the association, another difficult word, Association for German Engineers, with a long tradition, big acknowledgement in the public, and 160-year-old. So they started at the same time when buildingSMART International started an initiative for a P-Cert program, their program of their work for a national guideline. We were partners, especially for qualification, for individual qualification. And by last autumn, we published another sheet of that 2552. This is really important because it's about skills. It's not an accident. Of course, we were aligning with the activities at buildingSMART International with VDI. So, but the time was mature. So this paper is out there, at least in Germany, and other training providers can refer to it. So there is another need to speed up, because there are some competitors in Germany. As you can imagine, it's a big market, and there are big players who try to set their own standards when it comes to qualification. It's the DIN, it's the TÜV Rheinland, and it's especially the chambers of German architects and engineers. So, number 12. I want you to imagine Rubik's Cube. We were discussing with our Austrian colleagues who are about the same situation, to speed up and to bring the next level to the market, how we should go forward. And we find that this is quite a good graphic to demonstrate what it is all about. It's not the whole industry. It's not all the use cases out there. It's not all the roles that might be somewhere spread all over the world. There's a BIM manager in Singapore and there's a BIM manager in Bavaria, in Germany. This wouldn't lead to nothing to concentrate on roles or definitions of roles, of interpretations of roles. So we decided to start with profiles. A profile is a bundle of skills and competences that are needed to fulfill a special task. That's what is behind the term profile. So we decided, because the market demands it, that we concentrate on 2 profiles for the beginning. And as you can see, it's not the whole cube. It's, for example, eight of them, little cubes. There's another profile, the next important profile. It's about management. There might be some of the same skills. Let's say this one is this one, but there are probably different ones when it comes to open BIM management. So this is how we started, and our friends from Italy, they have their own interpretation of a next profile. We learn about it right now. It's when it comes to specialism. So they adopted the idea, let's take a little part, a profile for a special task out of the big Rubik's Cube. So this is the idea behind these 2 profiles that were developed mainly from Germany and Austria, together with the subcommittee at buildingSMART International. There is a subcommittee who every once in a while reviewed what we were working on, and by the end came out a learning outcome framework. What is a participant in an open BIM coordination course expected to learn, and so on. So this is the basis of what we are doing. It was a little bit hard when we were thinking what are the sources we can rely on, what we can refer to, because behind every program there is a body of knowledge, because the providers need to know, what do I have to teach in my courses, where do I find the sources, what is wrong and what is right. And there were long and many discussions. How international can they be? If they are too international or only international, we might lose the local market. And if it's only local, of course, that wouldn't fulfill our own expectations to be a real international program under the umbrella of buildingSMART International. So I think we found quite a good compromise. There's always the chance to use local or national sources, such as the BIMcert handbook. I hope you have heard about it. There are free download possibilities to get that book from our colleagues in Austria. We have the German VDI and buildingSMART guideline, for example, which is really important for Germany. Of course, there is international sources like ISO and so on. It was especially Hans, our new colleague at buildingSMART International, who helped us very much to widen our perspective for necessary and interesting international sources. So this is the concept, how to go on. I think I can skip this. This is what we did in the last 12 months. There's a lot of work, a lot of paperwork to prepare, and we gladly help other chapters, of course, to implement this, to follow this idea of developing a profile, maybe not developing a next profile. Of course, you can develop a next profile following this Rubik Cubes idea, but especially using our preliminary work for implementing it, for adopting it for your national markets and needs. This is the key facts, and then I'm done. These are the players who were involved, especially the German working group certification, together with our colleagues from Austria, and of course the subcommittee. Every once in a while there was feedback, especially from the subcommittee and appointed experts from the management. And last slide here, At least 40 hours are expected for teaching, and another 40 hours for practical exercises, because we need to make sure that people get the necessary skills and competences to fulfill a special task within their profile. So this is it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Maybe we wait till Mario is finished, because we should consider this third profile that we get to.
Yeah, exactly. We have another one in development, but I will talk later. So, hello everybody, ciao a tutti. I'm Mario Napolitano. Basically I'm an architect, but I don't act like an architect because I don't want to design. And I'm a BIM expert and head of a profession program at IBIMI buildingSMART Italy. Basically, I'm a BIM lover. Every day I wake up just to understand and learn more about BIM. So inside the IBIMI, we focused on the development of BIM specialism practitioner. And from the beginning, so a year and a half ago, we started to focus on some aspects. So on about international standards as ISO 9650, all the other standards of buildingSMART as IFC, MVD, BCF, and so on, because we wanted to have a practitioner in Italy, but this level has to be standardized and also adopted by all the chapters of buildingSMART. So not just with all the standards of buildingSMART, but also with new standards as IDS. So we implemented during these last months our documents with the IDS, also for the use case management, the buildingSMART data dictionary, and so on. And also we added some national regulations, because in Italy there's something different about our BIM roles, because we have a BIM specialist, BIM coordinator, BIM manager, and also CDM manager. So developing this role, we wanted to have also an addition about our regulation. So I present you the BIM specialism timeline, because we started creating a working group. This working group was and is composed of some of our training providers that are software houses and also digital consulting. So in an alphabetical order, ACA Software, Athena Group, CAD Academy, and Graphisoft Italy, that I want to thank, because they give us the technical support, but also the business and market support in order to understand how to reach all the candidates, and also how to give the opportunity to understand all the advantages of this practitioner level. Okay, and then we started to develop our learning outcome framework that is standardized according to the BIM coordination and management. We take the example of the learning outcome framework of by buildingSMART Germany and Austria. So the structure is always the same, divided into man, processes, data, use case, and obviously general condition for every nations. And then we started to implement the body of knowledge. That was the main part of the developing of the BIM specialism. Also in this document, we added national regulation, as I said, but also with the help of Céline, Hans, Georg, and the subcommittee, we implemented the body of knowledge with all the international standards. And then we started to move to develop all the exam. So according, as Gunther said, this exam is divided into 3 parts, also in compliance with our national regulation, because we already have some certification about BIM roles, since from 2018. So we wanted to have equal regulation about the national certification and then the international ones. And then we develop all the general documentation, so the exam handbook, the process to recognize examinator, and so on. And then we had also an Italian external revision with BIM expert like Paolo Borin, that is inside the technical committee of IBIMI. And then an international alignment with Céline and Hans in order to have a complete set of document and of exam tasks. So this is like a little spoiler of our general documentation. Nowadays, we finalized our learning outcome framework. As I said, a body of knowledge, the examination handbook, and we are going to apply the examiner process. So after the summit, we have maybe 10 or 11 candidates to be recognized as a buildingSMART examiner in order to give the opportunity to start the first certification for all the Italian BIM roles. And now I want to talk about the examination workflow, because as I said, it's divided into 3 parts. We have the first test, that is an online quiz. Then inside the buildingSMART platform, in an automatic way, the candidate can choose a group. So basically the discipline or the domain, and is divided in, I don't know, the architectural part, the structural part, the MEP, or the infrastructure. And then the Moodle platform can give, in a randomic way, a complex task according to every domain. So I'm an architect. I will choose, for example, the architectural group, and Moodle will give me a complex task of my domain. And then there will be an oral exam, the third test, with the 2 examinators that we are recognizing. And yeah, this is a screenshot of the foundation level, but basically it's the same structure. The online quiz will have 25 questions. Now it's composed of just multiple questions, but in the future there will be something like the BIM coordination and management with images, infographics to be complete. And we have created a database of 70 questions based on the body of knowledge. And it's all imported and set on Moodle, and Steven also translate from the clone platform to the international one. Now we are implemented this database with more questions. We want at maybe this summer to have the double of the question of the database, so maybe 150. And I want to pay attention about the complex task, that is the main part of the exam, because we wanted that the candidate has to replicate the daily work inside an office, a design office. So don't just about the geometric modeling, but with a focus on information creation and exchange process. So in this case, we focused on an important aspect of the BIM process that I will talk in a few seconds. So this is like a reference image about Villa Savoie of Le Corbusier, because we think to base this complex task on low degree of geometry complexity, on real case studies. So we select maybe architecture, in this case of famous architects, Archistars, and so on. So with the presence of all the main elements for every domain, for example, walls, windows, doors, and so on, and with a little presence of secondary elements like railing, curtain walls, and so on, and with reduced extent of surfaces and volumes, because we want that the candidate has to focus on the eye, so the information part, and not just with the modeling. we think that the candidate can model just, for example, one railing and just give us the opportunity to validate all the information related to that specific object or to one case study in this case. So we think about to develop different typology of complex tasks, not just one, that can be related to different case studies. So this is the first typology. And as I said, we start in creating an exchange information requirements because we want to replicate the daily work of a BIM specialist. And also we give as preliminary documents like DWG or PDF in order to create the model inside the native authoring software. We don't care about which kind of native BIM authoring software or the number that the candidate will use, because, for example, we had the feedback about our working group that in this case, the candidate of a certain software house, we will use one software, in another case, maybe 2 or 3. So we wanted that the candidate has to be free. And then we will focus the validation, so the passing of the complex tasks, not just on 2D documents, but especially on the IFC model, so the informative model. And also inside the informative model about the creation and management for IFC classes, creation of P-sets, or the setting of the IFC predefined type, and so on. And in this case, so according to this idea, we developed another second typology of complex task. In this case, the candidate has not to start from bidimensional documents, but from an IFC model or a partial model. So in this case, maybe if a candidate wants to have a practitioner of BIM specialism on, I don't know, structure, maybe he has to start from the architectural model, and then from the architectural informative model, he has to create the structure model inside the native authoring software. And in this case, also with the EAR, and there's we provide a BCF format. So in this format, there will be some issues like I don't know, from the FC partial mode give us the, I don't know, the correct dimension of a certain element that maybe is translated into the special structure or something like this. And so during the validation, we will focus on the IFC and also for the BCF. So yeah, this is like the actual state of what we finalized. So there's one exchange information requirements, 2 architecture case studies. We want in the next months to develop also the case studies and the complex task for the structure, the MEP, and the infrastructural part. Maybe during the summer there will be everything will be complete. And also we create 6 different complex tasks. We want to improve these complex tasks in order to have different sessions. So in order not to replicate maybe from one year to another the same complex task. Also, we created a database tasks in order to have all the tasks that we want that the candidate has to fulfill. So, and it gives us the opportunity to create in 30 minutes or maximum 1 hour a complex task. So just by I don't know, apply a case study from the database, we can create a complex task with a part of all the tasks of the BIM specialism that compose the body of knowledge. And so we basically create a methodology creation for the complex task. We imported everything inside Moodle, and as I said, we want to create much more complex tasks for each domain. And this is an infographics because with this database, we have all the tasks for all the domain and for the case study. For example, if there's the task to create, I don't know, an element, a wall element, this database can say to us for which domain it's applied and for which case study. For example, I don't know, maybe in Villa Savoie, there's a curtain wall, but maybe in another case study, there's not a curtain wall. So we want to have a complex task that is equal from each typology. And so in this order, we can have all the complex tasks that we want. And also just with one EAR, we can have all the global, how can I say, all the global vision on every complex task. So the EAR will present all the standardization, naming, and everything that we want the candidate has to develop inside the informative model for every domain. And yeah, this is like a little preview of the Moodle platform. As it's described, the exam is divided in an introduction. There are the practitioner exam divided in 3 parts. The first part is the online quiz. The second part is divided in much more parts. We have the discipline choice, and then the candidate is divided into the single complex tasks. So for example, this one is the architectural one, this one is the structure. And then we have 2 statements for the IFC schema and the MVD, because we want to know at the end of the complex task if there's the theoretical knowledge for the candidate. So maybe if the candidate is an infrastructure BIM specialist, we want to know which IFC schema he has used, because in this case, if he used, I don't know, the IFC 243, maybe there will be a problem, and the same for the MVD. And then there's the oral exam part and all the ending with feedback, certification, and the registry. And that's all. I just want to add that we are developing the practitioner, as I said, for the CDA management, because we have this market request. So we are still developing everything, not just for the BIM specialism. Thank you.
All right. We have 15 minutes left for all your questions. So please, Sergio.
I'm only going to make 2. First question are related to the practitioner level of questions. The first question is related about which is the role, if there is any role, for registered training centers in this level, just for prepared for the exam, just if the 40 hours of previously training should be made in a registered training centers, or there is no any role for registered training centers in this level. And the second question is quite practical about the cost schema, about the exam, or about the process and how it's going to be managed, if directly with buildingSMART International or through the chapters. Thank you.
Who wants to answer about the training providers? Yeah?
I tried. Well, basically, the system is like the one you know from foundation. So we expect that there is a in-house training, or no, not in-house. I mean, an actual training, not just online training. So sorry. A physical, good expression. Good, a physical training. Yeah. The second, well, there's a book what we expect from the training providers, but since you have implemented the foundation, there will not be a surprise for you. The prices, of course, not for the registration. It's about the same level. I don't know the exact sum, but I think it's about the same for the registration of the trainings providers. What is different, of course, is the examination is more expensive. That is what we of course, as a chapter, you as a chapter, or we, the German chapter, maybe we have different prices. Maybe the Swiss are even more expensive then, or whatever. So it's up to the chapters. But there's a sum, a fixed sum, of course, that goes to buildingSMART International. But the most part, as you can imagine, is paying the board of examinators, or that two persons who are involved in an exam. We have a calculation in Germany. It's not yet published. Well, yes, it is published because we have signed training providers, but I don't have the sum. We calculated some 800 euros for examination and all that belongs to it. So it's definitely more. It probably will be more expensive because you can decide as a chapter. Because you have to organize the exam and pay probably the people behind it. Yeah, but otherwise there are not other amounts that come up to us as a chapter, because everything else, the calculation is up to the actual training providers. That's nothing of our business. They have to calculate for what price they can offer what we expect for as a good quality.
Yeah, to add to that, so this is the first phase rollout. So you could see there's a kind of a pilot for the practitioner program in these 3 markets. We're obviously in the background, and with the input that we get from this first phase rollout, developing a cost structure that is internationally applicable. And at the same time, we will work on scalability and maybe having some parts of the examination automated and online to decrease the cost. So that will be part of the international official rollout. And currently, yeah, we just kind of trying to figure out the best way and try to gain a lot of feedback from this first phase.
Okay, hi Céline, again, Lajos Sobra from Czech Republic. As we saw, there are basically 3 courses or certifications, 2 by Germany, Austria, the practitioner and management, or practitioning and, coordination and management under the practitioner level. And there's the Italian specialism certification provided for Italy. I understood they were created quite independently from their national perspectives. I mean, the body of knowledge and the learning outcomes are probably different, or will you be trying to somehow combine them or join them to create the eventual internationally offered certification? Because we have some people really interested and they would like to know the timeline. They know it's underway now, started in Germany at the end of last year, and there is another program. So we would like to a little bit understand if now you would take the first experience from these 3, let's say 3 certifications, and you would be creating a new, basically consolidated, let's say, certification, which would be like a practitioner, international, which then could be localized. So what's your estimate of the timeline when this could be at least drafted, or when the timeline would be available to see what the timeline is?
It's clear. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so this was actually a very useful exercise. The program was initially developed for the first phase to roll out in Austria and Germany and in 1 language. And then actually in a bit of a later stage, we tried to apply their framework to the Italian specialism course. And there were clear overlaps. So I think you developed your course based on what has been developed by the Austrian and German chapters. So I think we are already quite far ahead with this international applicable framework or Rubik's Cube. a matrix of skills and tasks that you can use. I'm going to give you a very conservative estimate to be sure, but we want to have it available at the end of this year, so Q4. But I tell you, this is conservative, so maybe or probably sooner. Yes.
Can I add something? It would be a wrong impression to think that there is a perfect blueprint that can be rolled out everywhere. You need at least, or that is my recommendation after what we've been through, that you must consider what special content your markets or your players in your market need. So maybe you can adopt or take over 60 or 80% of what is there. It is the framework, but a few national aspects must be worked out by your chapter, definitely. So the sooner you get used to the framework, or you learn the framework, the easier is probably the start to launch it. Okay.
So just a quick additional question, because the foundation basic level is just 100% perfect blueprint, right? Because except for the chapter number 6 or the paragraph number 6, the 5 are just translated and they are the same for in Japan or in Germany or in wherever, yeah?
Exactly.
So this will be different. So then the question is, how would be the certificate which would be issued for the practitioner, recognized internationally? Because for the foundation, pretty much when you pass the test, you have the same knowledge as the Japanese guy, yeah? Or the US. So this will be different. So this practitioner, if 60 to 80% we can reuse, the rest should be added locally. So that content would not be applicable in other countries. So you know where I'm going, because there's a big benefit of the certification so that it's internationally recognized, because it has some same level of knowledge. So it may be good to highlight what's the common level of knowledge you get from the practitioner, which would be the same in all the countries, implemented them. And then there would be some section which is really nationally created and applicable, right?
But this is exactly the same.
How we want to do it, yeah?
Yes, so we, like with foundation, comparable to foundation, we have 80% internationally applicable content, although this time it will be presented in this framework because we want to give the countries the opportunity to model it after national identified profiles. However, that doesn't change the content or the questions that we have in our international examination platform. So it is actually a very similar approach. A little bit more complexity is added because we base it upon a task and skills based framework, which is not needed in foundation.
Okay, so we will see when the details come out. Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes.
So as we saw, there are 3 aspects to the exam practitioner. So I mean, this is a test case, so we'll see how it becomes internationalized. But my anticipation is that this exam will be 100% standardized. But then we can look at when we have this opportunity with the expert board. So then you can have the opportunity to sort of adjust the task based on national requirements. But I would anticipate there's a huge amount of standardization. And what localization there is, then we have this human aspect. There's always going to be a human oral interview exam, and that will be covered in that part. That's my anticipation now.
Yes, first, just a quick comment on that. I suspect, I understand the question regarding how is it harmonized, but I think personally I'm a Master of Science within civil engineering, and I suspect that if there are more people here who has a master's degree in civil engineering, it's probably different from country to country, even though it's the same. So I think that would probably be applicable to this kind of certification as well. There is some kind of local adoption, but that doesn't change the fundamentals. But my other question was the company certification. Are you looking into that, like a ISO 9001 certification only within OpenBIM?
Yes, we are not. We haven't really started yet, although the accelerated projects proposal that we will roll out as BSI this year the aim of this accelerated project is to create a reproducible certification or set of guidelines for processes. And that can be applied to either projects or companies. This is our vision. So to really develop some sort of process, a project or company certification. And currently it's mainly our technical team that is as a pilot working with some really large projects. One of them was one of the first clients was introduced on stage on Monday. I envision this to be as kind of a test bed to identify what elements of a project that has implemented the OpenBIM workflow in a correct manner, and how can we certify on that. So yes, it's on our agenda, but still early days. Yes.
Hello, I am Vaidotas Šarka from Lithuania. And my question, and we have some thoughts about interdisciplinary approach, because the BIM is, and biggest challenges is integrated project delivery approach, which, for example, in our market, it's very important, to make these changes and together with BIM implementation. Yeah, and within presentations, I found that there is it will be some groups, yes, like architects, technicians, and so on. Yeah, so how this interdisciplinary approach will be there.
So the question is how about the working group works about interdisciplinary, right?
I don't know. What is your plan? Because if you will call just architects, for example, into trainings, yes, or if you call just structural engineers or something like that. So yeah.
No, we call it also. We have our working group with the ACA, Graphisoft, CAD Academy, and Athena. But for the other domains, we are reaching external professional on the other domains. So there will be no problem to develop all the interdisciplinary aspects for the BIM specialism.
Yeah. I think, okay. So I think probably the BIM specialism is more disciplinary, but the BIM management and BIM coordination is more interdisciplinary. And so that would be the opportunity to bring in that interdisciplinary collaboration, would be in BIM management and BIM coordination.
Okay. If I understand correct, in contrary to the foundation program where the exam is provided by buildingSMART International, the examination platform is provided by International for the Practitioner program, but the exam itself, it's being conducted by a locally trained examinator.
That's correct.
But they are appointed officially, they get their certificate or their contract by buildingSMART International. That's
Okay.
important.
So
we as the chapter are responsible because we are closer to the market. We know the people, and we suggest people to join that board of examiners. We make a suggestion to buildingSMART International, and I hope they will follow our suggestion. But officially, they are under contract with buildingSMART International.
Yeah, because that was the follow-up. Your slide number 14, I remember too. Nice. It said training the training provider or training the examinator. Is it trained by International? Because, for example, for the oral exam, it looks to me it's very hard to be completely objective. Or do you have like a scoring framework or something? It's hard to be.
There is a handbook. There is a handbook for examiners. And the training of the examiners will be done on the local level in the local language as well, because we.
Okay, by whom? Yeah. Do you train the
Well,
trainee.
The chapters. Sorry? No, not training the trainer. We make them familiar with the procedure, with the quality standard, how they must do their job. We are not training the trainer in that sense. So sorry, that was a misunderstanding. We prepare them for their job to be a trainer.
Yeah, an examinator. Yeah.
Sorry, an examinator.
Yeah. And only once per chapter, or
no? There will be. Well, I can't only talk about Germany, but we probably need a handful to start with,
Yeah.
and sooner or later a pool of 10 or 20 we can rely on. Of course, they do not do that on a volunteer base. They get a fee per day, but still. Not everyone is so flexible. If they are high potential professionals, they're not always available on a Saturday or on a Friday or on a Monday. So we will establish a pool of qualified people to be our examiners.
Yeah, because if you expect 500 per quarter, that will be
No,
quite
that was foundation.
Yeah, but what do you expect for practitioners?
Yeah, we expect actually 200 for the first 2 years. So, but there's a big need, and I think it will be successful pretty soon.
Great, thanks.
And the examinators are under contract, so they sign a legal declaration with BSI. Yeah.
Okay, not a question, just suggestion, because the time we are running out of time. But I believe you mentioned the goal is really to train the individuals, right? The people, the professionals. But I believe there are two other beneficiaries or target groups who really can take advantage of the certification programs. And why is the employers? Because that's the companies who are looking for qualified, trained experts, right? So we should also market the program to the employers. And I mean, in general, employers, if it's a government, if it's private company, it's a contractor, design company, they search for this type of certified people. So there's definitely one group where we should approach them and market the program. And the second is the public buyers. Because public buyers, when they set up the procurement, public procurement, they are looking for qualification criteria, how they can select their providers. And this is very important, so that this is something which is international. And as a part of the qualification of the public procurement, they can ask our certificate, which would not change. It's not against the competition, right? There are strict anti-competition laws, right? But this would be very good for them. It would make it easier. They will not just ask, do you know BIM? Or do you have experience with 5 BIM projects, which can mean anything, right? Anyone can say, I have experience with 5 BIM projects. It's hard to prove, but this certificate is something very clear, which could be used in public procurement. So we should market it also to this community of public buyers. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, good suggestion, thanks.
Is there a final?
Oh, thank you. No, maybe I will not take the break. So I can ask during the break. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I would like to thank you all very much for your attention. We will be walking around here in the wild, so please address us for any other questions and good suggestions that you have for us too. We're still developing this, so and we will keep developing this. So please give your input. Thanks.